Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Griot's Garage, No Question Left Behind, where we follow up our YouTube Live that happened the Wednesday before this and answer all the questions that we could not get to. I am Nick.
I'm Sam.
And hopefully you're ready to hear a rapid fire of a lot of the specific questions that we weren't able to cover in that live. We talked a lot about the development of this very special tool, our Boss Hybrid Micropolisher, which is a 5-year development. We'll kind of start with a summary of what the tool represents. If you want to hear more about the development of the tool, definitely go check out that live. We got a lot of asks around, hey, we'd like to see it get used more. Really, that was our opportunity to tell you everything that went into it, and we will definitely be showing you more about how to use the tool, what it's capable of in the future. We also have a YouTube video on the tool itself, which shows plenty of in-use action in all of its versatility.
Yeah, you guys came hot and heavy with the questions, so we've got a lot to try to get through this time around.
Yeah, a lot. We're going to try and go as fast as we can. A lot of these are simple questions that we'll just simply provide the answer to, runtime, charge time, pricing, availability, all of those type of things. And we do have 2 giveaway winners that we have selected, so stay tuned. We'll be announcing them throughout the show. And then we're going to reserve 1 additional tool to be given to some of the other social media and comments that have come in. But before we jump into the questions, we have 2 other things to note. You want to kick us off?
Got the 20% off sale.
Our spring liquid car care sale is active right now.
Yes, we gave you guys, if you were in the live, the first look at that sale on Wednesday night with code SMLAX. But that code is active until
the 28th of March.
So get your 20% off liquid car care until the 28th of March. So that's essentially running for the next week. Make sure if you need to stock up on any liquids, get those orders in now. It's a great time to get ready so that you aren't standing there, looking at your empty cabinets when your car's waiting to be washed on the first sunny day of spring.
Yep. Also, again, liquids only. Granted, you can fill your car with liquids and add on one of these micropolishers, but it is not discounted at that same rate. So the other thing is Fast Correcting Cream is back in stock, as is Correcting Cream. We've had a crazy ride there. Last year, we went out of stock due to an abrasive shortage, and then we went out of stock due to a bottle shortage. Now we are in stock. We are covered with bottles. We got everything sorted. Same FCC you've always loved. Excellent product. We're just happy to be selling it again.
Yeah, it's a big relief. I know, there are a few of you guys in the live on Wednesday talking about like, where's my stuff? I need to work. I need to make my money. So, knowing that a lot of you guys rely on products like FCC for your livelihood, that was very important for us to focus on getting that back in stock. We of course apologize that it took us a while to do so, but we've got plenty of it in stock now. And if you had some on back order, those will automatically be shipped out to you, so no need to call us or anything like that. If you've been waiting on a bottle or a couple bottles, those will all be automatically shipped if you've already placed your order.
Yep. But during the liquid car care sale, go buy FCC confidently.
Yeah. If you've been waiting and you need to, get some surplus going, it's a good time to do it.
Yeah. So we're going to do a really brief overview of the tool. Like we said, we did a really in-depth, development to market talk in our live. I think it was close to 2 hours. So there's a lot that's covered in there. We had Jeff with us. His expertise is obvious. His passion for not only his job, but this tool is obvious the first time he starts to speak. So it's all about the Boss Hybrid Micropolisher, our first cordless tool that we have ever launched or designed completely ground up. It's a 5-year development project. Has a ton of unique and market-leading features. We think it's the most innovative micro platform on the market. It has a 10-amp brushless motor that is housed within the head. We go into that, but it also lacks a gear set, which gives it very low vibration, great efficiency on a 12-volt, 2.5 amp hour battery. We had a lot of questions about batteries, so we'll get to that. But it can also be powered by a plug-in inverter that uses our cord that is featured on all of our other corded tools.
Yeah, same quick disconnect cord for the inverter.
You want to
pretty sweet setup.
Fill them in on any of the other features I missed?
Yeah, so you get literally every backing plate size that you can run with it. So 1, 2, and 3-inch backing plates. You get, I think Nick may have already mentioned this briefly, but you get the rotary drive function, which we already have installed in this one. And then you also get the orbital drive function, which you can see in my hand here with the counterweight. And then you will get your wrench, as well as a battery and a charger and the custom carrying case. This is one of my favorite parts of the Micro.
Like me, Vanna Whiting it up.
Comes with a sweet case. You keep all your goods organized. You know, this tool is an investment, so we give you that case to keep it safe and protected. And always looks great when you show up to a detail job, super organized and well outfitted. You know, it definitely sends a message to your customer that they're getting the value that they want out of the detail when you show up looking legit with, you know, cases and matching bags and all that good stuff. So if you want to show up with all your other Griot stuff in a nice bag, we have our detailers bags on the website as well that fit the long throws and all of our other orbitals. So
yeah, a couple other features just because we're tag teaming here. Very unique articulating head with 4 different motions, so you can really manipulate it to get into tight spots. Fast change drive system where you can simply pull the shroud down and switch from the orbital drive that Sam mentioned into a rotary drive, and I'm doing this live. But that's as simple as it is. Obviously, we kind of showed you how to check that as I just demonstrated. You want to check that so you don't jettison your pads.
Yep.
The rotary drive is compatible with 1 and 2-inch plates. The orbital is compatible 1, 2, and 3-inch plates. We recommend low-profile pads as that will extend runtime and give you better access. We have a digital control center on the back of the tool, which it'll look like it's going crazy right now through the cameras. But you've got an odometer, a job timer, and your OPM and RPM monitor on there. And as you can tell, that brushless motor, super quiet. And then we will have some accessories for sale. Those are a little behind. They are shipping right now. We didn't want to hesitate getting this thing to market right now even without all the full accessory range, including additional batteries, because we had 175 of you waiting to buy it in our email list. So
yeah.
And wholesale partners clamoring for it. So we brought it out to market as soon as we got inventory, but our accessories, which we will speak to, including their prices during this live, are still a little bit behind. We're targeting mid-May for the inverter, which I mentioned can run the cord, and so you can power it through a plug-in in the wall and then alternate and run the battery. Simple as that. We will have a 3.5-inch rotary extension shaft that will be available, additional batteries, and backing plate and other support elements to this tool as well. I think that's about as quick as we can summarize it, given that we spent 2 hours talking about everything else yesterday.
Yeah, and the accessories not being quite ready, you know, the great thing about that is the tool's ready to use out of the case. So it comes with everything you need to get started. You don't need to add on any of those accessories to use the tool.
Yeah, and Sam, you did a good job saying what's in the base MSRP, which is $400. They're available now at griotsgarage.com through a couple of our wholesale distributors and a limited quantity on Amazon.com. So you can go get one right now. But that's the base kit, right? Long term, as you know, with Griot's Garage, we do a great job accessorizing our products into money-saving kits that are complete solutions. We will have those on top of just this base tool once we have the accessory support. So you will have the opportunity to buy, packages of more batteries and more accessories together, and we will have pricing for those as well. I don't have every single component within them, but there's at least some indication, including some pads as well, so that you can get all kitted out. All right, well, let's jump into some questions. We're going to go rapid fire here. Thank you again for everybody for submitting questions. And again, we've got 2 giveaway winners that we are announcing in this show. We'll do that after we chop some wood here.
All right, first question, AR in SoCal asks, how long does it take for the battery to recharge? I think we briefly addressed that at the beginning of the live or the first half of the live yesterday, but that is approximately 50 minutes. So it's going to be 45 to 60 really depending on how depleted the battery is, but you're right around that 50-minute range. You can, when the battery is when the battery is wearing down, you're not going to lose power. It's eventually just going to shut off. Typically, you'll be able to turn it back on for about 60 seconds after that. Beyond that, you're only going to get a second or two of power until it's completely dead. Depending on how much you run it after it first shuts off will determine what your recharge time is. But on the short end, 45 minutes, at the longest, 60 minutes. So pretty quick recharge time.
Okay, moving fast. Auto Fanatic, Phil over on the East Coast, great supporter of Griot's Garage, does some very objective reviews of our products. We take a lot of pride in what he says about our products. He asks, will you sell spare batteries and what is the cost? We will sell spare batteries, as I mentioned. Those are kind of going to be in inventory. We're hoping early May, but we're estimating right now mid-May. A spare battery runs $54.99. And Phil's secondary question is, why don't you sell the base tool with 2 batteries in it? Jeff spoke a lot about this yesterday. We've heavily invested in all of the development, including unique molds, a unique motor. And when we're in the LI battery space that we are, as the company that we are, we have limited buying power. And so it limits really our ability to package it all up at the price point that we have launched at. That being said, we believe with all the features, power, and benefits that this tool has at $400, it's going to be the best value you can get, and you can use it right out of the gate for, we're not going to determine how you want to use the tool, but the accessories and extra batteries can obviously be added on and will still be price competitive relative to the competitive set. So from the gate, right now, we launched the tool. We had the tool. Once we have the accessories, we will build more substantial kits that will include multiple batteries and potentially an inverter and some of the other accessories that'll still be price competitive relative to what's out there, with, at the core, the base unit, this tool being, we think, market leading and superior in almost every way.
Yeah, I know one good point that Jeff mentioned too is we wanted to get it to market, and we really wanted to, get it to you guys at a price that is reasonable and competitive, and then give you guys the options, because some of you may not want an extra battery. You may prefer the inverter instead. Others may prefer 2 batteries. So now you have the choice, without being, tied into spending that money right up front. You kind of have some options.
$200 or $300 away.
Yeah.
With, again, an inverter that you never use or a second battery that you never use. So, and again, we'll manage, just how it goes and your feedback as we get through this. So we think we did the right thing, and I know there are a lot of questions about that secondary battery. It'll be right behind the tool. So by the time you get it, enjoy it, learn to love it, want another battery, we'll have them.
Yeah. This was one of my favorite questions. Chris Christensen asked, will there be a range of battery capacities such as 2 amp hour, 4 amp hour, and maybe 5 amp hour? What is the lifespan of the existing battery? How many charge cycles would it have to go through before it needs to be replaced? So a few questions in there. But I love the 2 amp, 4 amp, and 5 amp hour question. I recently bought a bunch of 5 amp hour batteries for all my DeWalt tools, and they're pretty awesome in terms of your runtime capacities that you get. So I would say that those batteries with different capacities will be on the horizon. I think we tease you guys a little bit on the original live with the charger that's compatible with 12 and 20 volt. So being as we expand these lines, I think we will definitely be looking into offering some batteries with higher capacity outputs.
Yeah, and speaking to, our buying power, right? Like, if these things start selling, we're going to have a case to make about expanding that. As we mentioned yesterday, it's really hard to enter the lithium-ion battery market if you're not somebody as big as DeWalt or Makita or Milwaukee. And so for us, these are our proprietary designs. With that brushless motor, this is, you get great runtime out of this 12 volt, 2.5 amp hour, and a very lightweight balanced tool, which is important when you think about how you're going to use this tool in very tight, small spaces.
Yeah.
A lightweight package is ideal. But if you are in free and clear and just want to run the hell out of the thing, sure, I understand more amp hours being desired. And as we kind of teased, this is our first foray into it. And depending on the market support we get back, we're gonna keep pushing on.
Yeah, I think a lot of the high amp hour batteries you see tend to be more for the 20 volt tools. So we'll see what we're able to do there.
And those are bigger, heavier tools as well, right?
Exactly.
So you kind of know what you're getting into.
Lifespan of the battery is really dependent on how it's cared for, the environment it's stored in. There's tons of variables that make it very difficult to put an exact lifespan on a battery. So I'm not gonna go into a certain time frame that this battery will last. Just like with your cell phone, if if you're not charging it or you're letting it die completely all the time or things like that, leaving it on the charger too long, blah, blah, blah. There's all sorts of variables that affect battery life and how long it will last. The charger is a smart charger, so if you leave it on too long, it's going to stop charging so it doesn't, damage the battery. And really, we're going to cover any manufacturer defects in materials or workmanship. If you have a battery that fails within the first couple months of you owning the tool, odds are we're going to replace it under warranty. If you have a battery that fails after a couple years, at that point it's likely the battery's useful life. Lithium ions do not last forever, although they are built to be charged and discharged.
Yeah,
hundreds of times.
You get 2 years out of a $54 battery. You've used it a lot, and that's, I think, reasonable. But in general, if you feel it's a premature failure, we generally cover you. That's our standard. Okay, are the batteries proprietary? We kind of talked about that. De Jesus Antonio had a lot of great questions. The batteries are proprietary, and as we said, we had to design them our own. If you heard Jeff talk about how he wanted them to fit in the tool where his hand rested, that's us shaping the pack of the battery. So we will continue to do that. We appreciate being unique, and so they are our own.
The next one riffs off that. Glenn Weber asks, will the new polisher work with other battery brands like Milwaukee? No, it will not. A lot of those brands have very strong protections and proprietary patented designs on their batteries and the way that they affix to their tools. So this polisher will not work with other brands of batteries.
John Lenore asks, any thoughts on upping the battery power for longer polishing in the future? As we mentioned, this is a 12 and 20 volt charger. Take what you want from that, but as the earlier gentleman asked about amp hours, we definitely have that capability if we get the volume and support that we're expecting based upon at least the initial support and sales that we've seen for the tool. So again, we're kind of venturing out into a new space for us. We could have taken the easy way and bought something off the shelf. That's not our style. So
no way.
We gotta swim through this muck together.
Kevin M asks, will one charge do a complete car? That's going to all depend, Kevin, on how much compact spaces you have on your car. Because on a lot of vehicles, I would say the truck that Stevie and I did recently and used this tool very heavily, we went through 2 batteries and we ran that tool for probably an hour and a half approximately of total runtime on that vehicle. But there were lots of large areas that required the 1 and 2 inch plates on that specific truck. So it's really going to depend on what you're working on. I would say for most average size cars, yes, one battery will do the vast majority of most compact spaces that you need.
The spaces you need it. I wouldn't want to do, we've talked about this, somebody asked, can you do a whole car with a G8?
Oh, yeah.
A small format tool is not the right approach for a whole car.
Oh, it's like, yes, you could. Do you want to? Definitely not.
At the same time, do you want to do an A-pillar with a G9 or one of the larger backing plates? No. So it's those complementary spaces where this is obviously it's going to serve its purpose. And if you have the need for a 1 inch rotary, again, you're, like we said, owning a 512 BBI, a Ferrari engine cover with tiny little slats and louvers, you might use an entire battery doing that because there's like 100 of them. But if you're doing like bumpers and A-pillars, really tight spots as you do, the vast majority of your car, yes, you're definitely going to have that juice. And you're probably using smaller plates, which means you'll get the full extent of that battery life.
Yeah.
All right. Randy Kleinberg, this is a good one. Will the battery charge while using the tool in the corded mode? And I think this is why we do a live like we did the other day. We're super technical and we just break down every aspect of an innovative tool like this. So it's actually not the same thing, right? So when you cord the tool, you are removing the battery and placing the inverter in the back of the same spot that the battery goes. So I would suggest you're dropping your battery onto the charger during that time and running the corded tool.
Yep.
So they are exclusive, but that obviously speaks to the hybrid nature of it. You aren't plugging an inverter into the back of the battery, therefore adding more weight to the tool and unbalancing the tool. So good clarification, Randy. I like the question. That's why we did what we did on Wednesday, just to show you the differences.
And it's really because of the AC, DC currents that you have. You can't charge a DC battery, without an inverter and converting those power specs that are coming out from the wall to the tool and so on. Yeah, wouldn't play well.
This next one is a good one. This is why we love you guys, our customers. We don't know where you're gonna stick this thing, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Chris B asks, is there a hole or slot for a wrist strap? I intend to use the buffer on my boat while it's in the water. I'd hate to drop this nice buffer in the drink. Definitely don't want to drop it in the drink, Chris. It is not waterproof. But it doesn't have a lanyard hole, but I was actually looking at the tool when you asked this question during the live, and you have a nice flange here at the base where you could easily tie on a piece of paracord or a lanyard, where you have those two areas of grip, where the
not a lot of motion that takes place around that
where the
area,
pistol grip goes from narrow to wide. You could definitely tie a lanyard around there to keep a good secure hold on the tool, or potentially even around the neck if you weren't going to use the flex function.
See, the reason I say I love you guys, because just us repeating that question again, I guarantee we're going to see somebody in our inbox go develop that and then send it to us. And
Yeah.
hey, look what I made.
For sure.
Like, oh,
I mean, I was thinking of like a neck strap, like a camera strap almost.
Yeah.
On your tool. It'd honestly be even kind of cool for just when you're detailing big stuff and you're up on a platform or a ladder and you don't want to bend over and set your tool down.
I don't know. If you put a neck cord on this thing, Jeff's going to paint one of these things gold and show up in our office with it next time. So
the next
Flav of Flav. We're going to stay on topic, but obviously
instead of clocks.
We have fun with you guys. All right. We already kind of answered that one. Battery and charger made in-house. They're made by our manufacturing partner and developed in-house. Yes, obviously aspects of the battery come from outside and go into there, but the charger itself was made entirely in-house. Our proprietary designs, like we said, as we prefer them.
Jeff covered this one yesterday, but we'll cover it again. Neil White asks, will I be able to mount the charger to my garage wall? Yes, absolutely. Yep. Makes it nice, get it up off the workbench, save space on your workbench. Or like Jeff mentioned in the live, if you're a mobile detailer and you have a van or a truck, makes it easy to save space in those environments too. Or you can mount it to the wall of your van or your work truck and keep it nice and organized and secure.
Yep, okay. Just like every other standard battery mount, right?
Yeah.
It's got those little holes.
Yeah, you got to have the keyholes on the back.
All right, Rob Peluso asks, when will the AC adapter become available? Once again, we're looking at mid-May for that. As Jeff mentioned, we are in production on that, and we'll be stocking them as soon as possible. It seemed very exciting to a lot of you. The inverter is $79.99. So, and again, we will have kits that include that with the base tool, the package, which we explained earlier today, which if you're packaging the inverter and a couple other accessories, we're gonna help you save some money on that. But that will be the kit for the people that want the inverter.
Yep. The Loch Ness Monster asked, what comes in the kit? So he's planning on doing some micro detailing in the depths. But the kit comes with everything we mentioned at the beginning. You get, of course, the micro tool, the battery, the case itself, the charger, every backing plate. So the 1, 2, and 3-inch backing plates, all three sizes come in the kit. You get the orbital drive, 13 millimeter orbital drive. You get the rotary drive, and you get your backing plate removal wrench, as well as a pouch with your owner's manual and your warranty card, and a sweet little insert that shows you all of the accessories for the micro tool and all of the product and pad compatibility that we recommend for this specific platform.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome kit. The case even has a top pouch in the cover where you can store some towels, some pads, some extra accessories that you need when you're out on a detail.
All right, so as we mentioned too, a lot of the accessories are slightly behind. That's limiting our ability to sell more expansive kits, which I know you guys were asking about a lot yesterday. So we will most likely have up to 4 different tiers above the base tool itself that will have different combinations of, I want to buy the kit with a battery and all the pads. I want to buy the kit, the inverter, a battery, and the whole meal deal, and pads. So we're pretty good at merchandising those kits and right-sizing them for you to be able to save some money and buy the solution that's correct for you. Those, again, we have already developed. We can't speak to every single component that's in them right now, but as soon as we have those accessories, they will come out to market. But again, if you want to just use the tool, figure it out, you can also buy those accessories individually as you understand how you like to use the tool. The individual accessories that will be sold are, a separate 1-inch backing plate, a separate 2-inch backing plate, a separate 3-inch backing plate, additional batteries, the micro rotary drive, so just a standard rotary drive, the extension drive, which I just had right here, 3.5-inch extension drive, an additional 13 millimeter orbital drive, so that is going to be supported. Nice little stainless steel CNC machine piece, very well balanced, beautiful. The smart charger, so an additional charger. You want to charge different batteries or multiple batteries at once, and then the hybrid power inverter. So those are all the individual ones, above and beyond just the base tool. The backing plates currently are $14.99 a piece. The Li battery, which I mentioned earlier, $54.99. The rotary, the standard length rotary extension is $19.99. A replacement orbital extension is $49.99. The micro extension drive, rotary extension drive, $19.99. The smart charger, so an additional charger, is $80. And then the hybrid power inverter, which Jeff showed off in the live yesterday, $79.99.
Pretty reasonable prices on a lot of those add-ons too.
Yeah, and you can see why it's important for us to sell the base tool at $400 and then for you to pick, a pathway that you want the most. If it's another charger, well, you're $55 away and you're still $200 cheaper than the competitive set that sells their 2 battery pack kit for $600 something.
Yep.
So we're letting you pick your pathway, and we think that's the better way to go.
And it's great to hear you guys love our kits. We had lots of kit questions. The next one being another kit question, AR and SoCal asking about, how about an exclusive pad combo kit for this machine rather than having to buy each individually? I think that's one that, if it's not in the hopper already, it definitely will be. Our pad combination kits that we've put out for our other orbitals have done extremely well. Just simplifies things for you guys. You don't have to go searching through the website to find all the different pads. Just one button, one purchase, one charge to your card, and you get them all. So I think we will definitely put out a kit that culminates all the sizes and pad and the most popular probably pad types.
Yeah.
For this one.
And we're gonna end this section of questions and go on to the other section really quick.
Yeah.
Just wanted to end it with 2 questions from Craig Tershel and Finn from Ohio. Finn's question is, can I use the same pads for the G8 and the micropolisher? The answer is yes. We spoke yesterday that you can run a Boss low profile pad and a 1-inch pad, but the 1-inch pad on a battery powered tool is going to draw more and shorten your run time. So we definitely recommend the lower profile pad. But if you're using those Boss pads on a G8, on the 3-inch, 2-inch, and 1-inch backing plate, those pads are going to translate over, right? Yeah. The backing plates are the same diameter.
It's a Boss tool, so it was really engineered for the Boss pads. You may get a tiny bit of additional vibration with those 1-inch thick pads too.
Yeah, and we're talking about tight spaces, and you probably don't need extreme conformability.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you do, that's why the head pivots. We were thinking. And the next question is a really important one, is can I use the same backing plates that I have on the G8 and G9? The answer is definitely no.
You don't need to.
Those are weighted differently, and they thread in differently than this tool. So those are separate backing plates. But if you found some way to put those backing plates on this thing, you're going to have bad time.
Yeah, don't do it. The threads aren't compatible, so don't try. And yeah, you don't need to, because this kit comes with all 3 sizes. So
yeah.
If you're buying the tool, you get all the backing plates you're going to need, and we have replacements for them that I think are lower cost than the G8 and G13 replacements because of the materials. So
yeah,
or comparable cost.
I mean, they just, if you blow up one of your backing plate sizes, we have it, supported individually.
Yep.
You don't have to go buy all 3. You can just buy one.
Good time to mention, backing plates are a wear item. So yes, they are covered against manufacturer defect in materials and workmanship. But outside of that, if you've been running a plate for a year and it wears out, we're going to expect you to foot the bill to replace it. We are not going to cover that under our warranty typically. unless you had some odd issue that caused the failure.
Yeah, some unexpected failure that isn't due to use and or just general degradation, right? We talk about running it into rivets and trim and things that just kind of chip away at the plate's integrity over time. That's not necessarily a warranty issue. That's a consumption.
And it's really, if you take care of your tools and and you know what you're doing when you're polishing a car, you're probably not going to blow up backing plates very quickly, or potentially not at all.
Okay, so we're going to announce our first winner for the giveaway that we're doing. This is a gentleman that was very active. We've already answered 2 of his questions, so had a lot of specific and intelligent questions. So they were obvious that he's really interested in this thing. And then followed up and put another comment on the video last night that had all of his questions in one place. So it made it very easy to see how many great questions he asked. And that gentleman is De Jesus Antonio.
That's a pretty smart strategy.
It is.
I like that.
And he was saying, hey, I was active. I was asking good questions. You guys were, peppering, answering all over my questions and not giving me credit for it. So squeaky wheel gets the grease, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong with that. We ask you to do that. We want you to be active, and in particular, if your questions are good, we're going to give you something. So
love the follow-up.
De Jesus, please email us at social@griotsgarage.com to claim your Boss Hybrid Micro Polisher.
Yeah, send us your address, social@griotsgarage.com.
And congratulations.
Yeah, that's an awesome win. Let's see, so on to some general hybrid micro questions. Chris B asks, how fast does the motor spin, RPM wise? So max speed on this tool is 5,800 RPM or OPM, depending on whether you have the orbital or the rotary function in there. So you can see that as soon as you power it on your control screen there, the bottom number is your speed. You do have to have the orbital powered on, so depress the trigger just to turn that screen on, and then you can change those speeds, toggle up or down with the plus and minus buttons there. So it goes 5,800 being max, all the way down to 2,000 being your minimum speed. So 2,000 to 5,800.
All right, brushless motor is great. How many watts? So I actually looked this up. We rate it in amps, and there's different ways of calculating watts via
From
AC
amps.
or DC.
Yeah.
So, but either way, I had found some pretty staggering wattage numbers that I don't want to cite because I'm not an electrical engineer. But take what you want and go find an internet amperage wattage converter, and you'll get a base assumption of the wattage. But he was asking if it was an 80-watt machine. Nothing I saw was less than 400. So it's a pretty powerful little unit for it being the size of pretty much a stack of quarters.
Yeah, 10 amps, you definitely have some wattage there. Let's see. Chris Christensen asked, does the rotary mode work with all 3 sizes of backing plate? No, it does not work with the 3-inch plate. It does work with the 1 and 2. So that's going to be a similar trend that you see across all of these micro tools. I believe there's one competitor that doesn't offer rotary function at all. The other competitor that does offer rotary function only offers it with the 1-inch plate. So we give you both options with the 1 and 2. Neither of those will put too much stress on your motor. If you were to put the 3-inch on the rotor, you're going to put a lot of stress on that motor, and it's going to shut down on you because of the automatic shut-off function that's built into that motor. So you literally will not be able to run the tool. We built in a function that prevents you from installing the 3-inch plate on the rotary, the centering hole on all of the backing plates. So you can see here, the 1 and 2-inch and the 3-inch, they all have a centering hole that centers them on the rotary shaft, which also has a centering pin on the inside. The 3-inch plate, the centering hole is too small to fit on that rotary shaft. So that is by design. If you try to put your 3-inch on your rotary shaft and you're like, oh, why doesn't it fit? I'm gonna go grab my drill bit and drill that plate out. Don't do that. It will shut your tool down if you try running it with the 3-inch. So that is by design. It will not fit on the rotary shaft. Do not try to make it fit, just for 1 and 2-inch for the rotary function.
Yeah, and in general, it's just a function of the amount of draw that you need to run that. So
resistance on the motor.
Yeah,
really. And typically, when you're using the rotary function, you're using it to get into a really tight, contour or edge. And normally, at that point, you don't need the larger size plate either.
Yeah. Okay, this is a pretty good question. I think there's a self-evidence to it, but I think he's asking because he's really excited and based upon your demo yesterday about how you can run the tool into some concavity and it's pushing through. But Shiny Light Detailing, who was pretty active yesterday as well, asked me, or asked us, does the orbital stall out? Short answer, every orbital is going to stall in the improper conditions or without balance.
That's exactly
One of the excellent aspects is that it has enough power to push through a lot of scenarios that lesser machines will stall on. I think one of the big complaints of some of the early iterations in this micro category is they don't have grunt, right? They have to be treated very lightly, so you're really just using them for finishing. You can definitely do some heavy cutting with this tool. And in general, the articulating head allows you to get into places where you might be very, physically contorted to maintain, a direct balance over the head of the tool to prevent stalling, versus when you saw Sam kind of heel and toe, and how that will exacerbate stalling on any tool that has orbital function, right? It's just going to stop itself when it starts feeling off center, so or off balance. But every orbital on planet Earth will stall if used with improper technique. We're very proud of the power this thing has to kind of work past some of the stalling issues that are evident in some of the other micropolishers.
Yeah, a lot of it, when you're using a random orbital, not a forced rotation orbital, there is technique that's required to maintain your rotation or pad speed. Of course, the power of the tool is going to help with that. An underpowered orbital, you're going to need to use very careful technique. A higher powered orbital, will prevent the finer inputs from causing as much problems because you have that power and torque behind it to power.
Very polite way of saying that.
So we'll lock it. This is max speed. But with most micro orbitals that I've used, I'm adding probably 10 pounds of pressure right there. Most that I've used have already started to stall. They're not getting any rotation. I'm excessively applying pressure right now, and that pad is still rotating, as you can see. So we're still getting
on a 3-inch plate.
Yeah, it's 3-inch plate, so lots of resistance. Still getting pretty good pad rotation for the amount of pressure that we're putting down. I mean, I gotta stand on it, and then you hear that grunt kick in, and it just keeps going. So I'm applying more and more pressure, and that thing is still spinning.
If you're feeling that,
I don't know if you guys can see how much my hand and arms are vibrating because of how much pressure I'm applying, but that's unreal to me.
You were denting my favorite hood to carry around. It's like an aluminum hood off an F-150.
I didn't burn it though.
Lightest weight thing. No, it's pretty impressive. Again, we've had no qualms with stalling outside of, again, when you get sloppy and put it into something that it doesn't want to go into. But that's where, if you're trying to fit too big of a plate into too small of a space, you're going to have a harder time with anything. So you can drop the plate size down and get the rotation you need to do the correction. And then, as I mentioned, the articulation of the head is going to set you up so that you keep that pad flat, even in angled or tight spots. So that's a really big benefit.
Yeah. The 2 full cars that I've done with this tool now, I've got my headphones in, I'm cruising along, and there were multiple spots where I'm just sitting there to myself like, oh, hell yeah, this thing is just, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I mean, you'll
More
really
power.
realize it when you start
We like
using
the power.
It's like the areas where you're usually used to wiping off and okay, I got to come back again, hit it with a smaller pad, or I got to get something with more conformability because I'm not maintaining pad rotation. This thing just solves all those problems.
Because we got another De Jesus question right below it.
Yeah, so this is another good one. De Jesus Antonio asks, are you guys going to offer to buy a shorter throw orbital adapter? Stay tuned.
Jeff's answer was yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the reality is that you can drop out your orbital function, and so it simply is going to take us balancing counterbalance to a smaller throw. And the way we do things, we're going to find the right one. I think it would make sense to go, pretty petite on the throw, so that we can really do some tight orbital correction and refinishing.
Yeah, some sanding.
But
I mean, really useful.
We had a couple other people ask, can we build off of this? Can we build off of this? That's all part of the development, is thinking through the options and how it goes to the next stage. And what the market demands, we give. So I think there's a great question, and it's not available right now, so let us be very clear. But if that is something we're consistently hearing and seeing, this is not a difficult thing for us to develop and add on, simply because of the mechanism we've developed to swap drive system.
Yeah. This next question could be fun. You want to time me?
Yes.
Dennis Barrios asks, how fast can you change between orbital to rotary?
Give me a second.
Get my parts ready here. All right.
Oh, hold on.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not a millennial, okay? I'm trying to figure out how to use this damn thing. All right, ready? Mark, get set, go.
Done.
3.88 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
That's top fuel funny car, quarter mile time, dude.
We need to do some competitions at the next like company potluck or.
It's pretty quick. And you know what we spoke to yesterday is you've got it on its back on the rest pads. That's probably the best way to do it because one, you can stabilize the machine. You don't want to pull the yoke and drop your very perfectly tuned counterbalance or a backing plate with a pad on it onto the ground. So resting it on its back, pulling it down cleanly so it fully releases and you can slide it in and out. And then obviously before you put something back on it, give it a little tug. And we talked about just kind of wiggling the hex shank around until it sets in and clicks. Yeah.
You'll feel it too. I mean, I definitely recommend like practice that a couple of times and you'll realize those indicators of you hearing that click, and it's also a tactile feel when you feel it drop in there.
Yeah, so I didn't feel the click, right? I just rushed that versus kind of just a twisting. Yeah.
That second.
Yep, we got it. It's nice.
Pretty quick and easy. And I think it was Rachel Parker mentioned a cool idea that I hadn't really thought about yesterday or on Wednesday during the live. You could, if you didn't want to swap backing plates and you just wanted to have, quick, faster plate changes, you could buy additional orbital or rotary drives and have them set up with specific plate sizes already installed on them. So say you have 3 rotary drives, one with 1 inch, one with 2 inch, one with 3 inch, then you have 3 orbital drives already set up with your plates. Then it's simply a quick connect function. You aren't threading anything on or off. So obviously you'd have to spend a little money to get that convenience, but it's definitely a good option.
Yeah, or just, the concept of I'm doing tight work with a 1 inch rotary, so I'm going to equip that, which is what I've got here. I've got a 1 inch pad on this extension shaft. And so when I know, okay, I've run out of space with my 2 inch orbital, I'm going to just swap over this tight, rotary and have the backing plate kind of already set up. But the backing plate wrench obviously exists for a reason, so you can, pull the backing plate off. We talked about yesterday, hand tight. You don't need to over tighten them.
Don't over tighten them. It's not necessary.
All right, Leon Johnson asks, is the speed control variable or set speed settings? On the control center, they are set speed settings, and it's not half steps. It's deliberate single steps, much like a true variable speed random orbital, like all of our other tools, has 6 speeds. The OPMs kind of jump with those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So same concept here. One of the nice things, though, is that, as Darren demonstrated, you have a variable speed trigger. So you can depress the trigger at a half, pressure and essentially accomplish the same thing. Now, that's going to take some very, delicate fingers, and I might just find the sweet spot between speeds that I'm chasing, but you have that versatility.
It's a really nice trigger, too. I mean, of all the variable speed triggers I've used, this one's definitely one of the most controllable. It's pretty easy to manipulate. Of course, they all take a little getting used to for starting off and whatnot.
We had another person ask, is there a tactile aspect to the speed change? And the answer is yes. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Hear the click?
Yeah.
So yes, there's an audible indicator that you have changed speed outside of the motor's speed.
Yeah.
But you'll know when you've depressed the button to change those speeds.
The buttons have a nice, loud, and felt click, just like if you had a dial that has clicks to it, like some of our other tools do.
I mean, unlike all automakers, there is something to be said about a tangible tactile button.
Yeah, it's totally off topic, but I read an interesting article about that earlier this week.
Hyundai?
Yeah.
Hyundai.
They're keeping buttons because
Yeah.
they're safer.
Yeah.
Makes complete sense.
What do you know? They probably work better too.
Who would have thought?
Another really quick one from Ryan Mulhern. Is there any difference in performance when the polisher head is at different angle other than 90 degrees?
Nope.
Okay.
No difference in performance. One related to that, we had a question about like, would you be able to develop a telescoping head with the rotational head? Unfortunately, we haven't figured out how to develop a telescopic moving shaft yet.
That'd be pretty wonky. I mean, I can understand why you asked, but I mean, just from this
It would be cool.
concept of like,
Really cool.
you know, we've got kids that have those like cups that extend, you
Yeah.
know, like how those things break immediately.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that with like some pressure on it and some heat around it? No, I mean, look, I mean, you could tie this thing to a mop stick, I guess, or something like that, and, you know, figure out some weird, you know, system to depress the
Don't
trigger.
call us if bad things happen
Yeah,
when you
you
tie
send
it
us
to
a
mop
photo of
stick.
that. We're probably outside of our warranty limitations, but I've had people ask that before, like, oh, I'm gonna polish my RV. Can you like get a orbital extension? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I mean, just get a ladder, right?
Yeah,
Like, but
yeah. I think
because that's a lot.
strength with
Because you're
5
putting
pounds
up,
out on
exactly.
the end of a pole.
You got this like you're like a friggin', you know, matador or whatever the guys
Yeah.
are, the
Oh,
spears,
man.
you know. Got
even
a lot of weight at the end, so you better have some burly shoulders.
Yeah.
All
It
right.
would be cool though.
So we're gonna jump. We're jumping to the next page, Sam, because we just crushed
Yeah,
all
we
those.
killed all those.
So we're gonna go here because we're at the time where we're gonna announce our second
All right. I
winner.
think Voodoo Child asked a lot of sweet questions.
It's not just because I'm a child of the '60s and love Jimi Hendrix and may have owned his mom's Mercedes-Benz wagon. Nothing to do with that.
Wait, you own Jimi Hendrix's mom's?
So it is said.
Wagon? What? I
It's a
thought-
vicious rumor.
Man, yeah, I never knew that. That's cool.
That's what my dad had concluded. I have no idea.
That's like very, very cool.
It's in the lore of
Think
that.
of
that
young
particular-
Hendrix getting driven around in the same car that you did.
It's probably jumping out of the back
Sweet.
window.
Anyways, Voodoo Child asked,
He had a lot of good questions too. So
Yeah, he had several.
I was just making stupid jokes.
and he asked, with this new direct drive assembly, will this be the start of Griot's moving towards battery powered and also corded polishers using direct drive on all polishers? I think you're speaking to the specific direct drive brushless motor
Yeah.
that is housed in here, not an actual like direct drive rotary polisher, which we are expanding our line of those as well. But yeah, I mean, I know I really hope that this is a technology that we can riff off of. and
Look, it's not
learn from.
It's not inexpensive.
No, it's
I-
not.
you know,
That's a very good point.
And in so all of our other brushed motors are spun and designed and developed in the same facility that the plastic is blown in to all of our
injection
molds.
molded
It is a fully vertically integrated manufacturing company that we are partnered with, and if they are watching this, Jeff got to say it, but we really love working with them. Their insistence on making everything right. So this brushless motor is developed in-house at their factory.
Yep.
What that means to us, it's possible. But what we also know is it ain't cheap. And it means that, you have to really make a big leap in terms of pricing. But in terms of the efficiency and the lack of vibration that is experienced, and noise, right? The
Yeah,
noise
yeah.
reduction of not having a gear set. I mean, you could do a lot of work with that technology. Are the people going to pay for it? Is a good question. But have we proven that we're capable of developing a tool with it? Yes. So, as we said, if you guys love this tool and there's a market for it, gosh, I don't know what can stop us
Yeah.
outside those nasty little bean counters.
I was gonna say it'll help if you guys get on the website, buy a lot of micro tools. But Voodoo Child, you are our second micro giveaway winner. So email us at social@griotsgarage.com with your mailing address, and we will get a Boss micro tool shipped out to you.
Yeah, and one of the other things, he was asking a lot of motorcycle specific questions. So
Yeah.
he clearly does a lot of bikes, and he has a G8. And we were asked yesterday about the difference, what would you pick, G8, G13, or this? And the G8, like in motorcycles in particular, I wouldn't get rid of that because that throw is still going to be pretty precise and get you around, a bike in tight spots.
Yeah.
But now you've got even, more precision with the rotary element to this, and probably some more maneuverability to actually get your polishing surface into some of those tighter spaces. G8's no big fat pig by any means, but this thing is still about 2 pounds lighter, and obviously with the rotating head, it's going to give you access to spots you didn't think you could access.
I mean, that's the silver bullet for motorcycle detailing for sure.
So Voodoo Child, rock on, buddy, and contact us at social@griotsgarage.com. Want to also take the chance to remind you, if you're still watching or joined this late, our 20% liquid car care, 20% off liquid car care sale is going on now until March 28th. Use the code SMLAX. Excuse me. I want to stop. SMLAX, just so you guys don't blame me, but Matt put it up on the pretty screen anyway. That applies to all liquid car care that we sell. It does not apply to our tools. We were asked about if our tools ever go on sale. Well, you better follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and sign up for our emails to find out. Maybe you have something in store, and that's the only way you can know first. And then Fast Correcting Cream is back in stock. Super excited about that. So if you've got Fast Correcting Cream needs and want to restock on anything else, do it now.
Yeah, get 20% off your FCC when you're buying your micro. It's a sweet way to do it.
Where did we go?
Contra Beta, I think, is our next.
I think we actually jumped down to the next guy.
Oh, yeah. John Lenore asks, compared to the G13, is this just as powerful? Even though it's battery operated, if choosing between the G8 and the hybrid micro, which would be the better all-in-one solution? So multi-part question, definitely a tough one. I think in a lot of ways, this tool is as capable in the G13. The one advantage the G13 has is it's not limited by a battery. With the corded function of it, of course, if you have the inverter for this, it's not limited by a battery either. They are both 13 millimeter orbit throws, so you're going to have very similar correction ability with both tools. The G13, we do not have a 1-inch extension for that tool yet. So that would be one big advantage of the micro, is you can use it with a 1-inch and that fast correcting or defect removing 13 millimeter orbit throw. If you're comparing to the G8, again, Nick mentioned the advantage of the G8 with the shorter 8 millimeter orbit throw, for getting into really tight spaces or potentially doing some sanding type tasks. The longer throw of the micro with the 13 millimeter orbit is going to give you faster defect removal ability. And then, as we've said, we will be launching shorter throw drive attachments for this that really will give you that full suite of versatility. So should you get rid of your G8 and G13? Definitely not, because those are still great workhorse tools to have. For larger jobs or situations where you won't use your micro. But the micro does cover all the bases in that you have the rotary and the orbital function, all those plate sizes, and just a very, very versatile tool with that flex head and all of those features built into it.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, if you're a professional, putting all your money into one single solution is never a good idea, because things happen on jobs, right? However, if you're looking for specific cross functionality, here's the tool. But that does not mean go discard your other tools, because things do happen. Likewise, this is not, this wasn't specific in the question, but it's not suitable for doing entire cars. It's for the tight work, and so those other orbitals, as Sam mentioned, with their variable throws, you're going to have different spots where you use them, and then can obviously complement it with this. So knowing who you are, what you do, how you operate, enthusiast versus professional, these tools belong in both spaces. But if you're looking to narrow down your selection and get that cross functionality, sure, there's one tool. Another argument to be made is the overall investment of this tool versus, the corded tools that, are less expensive due to their brush motors and a couple other, just maybe not lower technology, but just simpler functionality related to the cord, right?
Yeah.
And how it is powered, which is what makes this thing a lot more expensive to develop and sell.
Yeah, definitely. Malin Patel asks, what is the noise level between G8 and Micro? So we did some quick tests right ahead of this. Full disclosure, we're using an app-based decibel meter, not a legit, standalone decibel meter. However, I have tested that next to a standalone meter, and it is very close, usually within 2 to 3 decibels. So from the G8, we're getting approximately 93 decibels with the decibel meter 1 inch from the head of the tool. So literally, if you have the tool right up to your ear, you'd be hearing about 93 decibels. If you have the G8 at arm's length, so a normal polishing scenario, when you're running it on a vehicle surface, you're going to be at about 78 decibels. With the Micro, you're significantly lower than that. Just as a frame of reference, my voice at a normal talking level, I tend to talk a little louder during these lives, as Matt always tells me, but at a normal conversation level, say you're standing a few feet from your buddy in the garage having to talk, you're going to be at about 60, 65 decibels. That is right where the Micro is at arm's reach. So very quiet. I mean, you can easily talk over this tool. I'm sure you guys can hear me right now. Even though I'm mic'd up, Nick, you can hear me. I'm standing a few feet away from you.
Just kidding. No, I
and then right next to your head, if you've, with the decibel meter 1 inch away, same thing. If you're holding it right up here and running it, you're at about 83 decibels. So significant reduction compared to the G8. A 10 decibel difference may not sound like a lot on paper, but when you're realizing that in reality, it is a significant difference. So I was pretty excited about that. I mean, the fact that at arm's reach, it's literally as quiet as a normal conversational, voice tone.
Like I said, it's one of the most fantastic aspects to think you compare power, efficiency, versatility, and low sound. That's great. All right, so Jesus Antonio had actually asked a question that, we kind of answered with regards to G8, G13, and Micro, and he won a Micro. So don't have to answer that one. So one of the ones that I did like and deserves being re-answered, Dave Flewelling asks, how much does the polisher weigh? 2.5 pounds, fully loaded with a battery. Battery itself, probably, I don't know. 6 ounces. It can't weigh that much. I could probably throw it pretty hard at somebody, which would speak to it being less than a baseball. But overall, the unit's 2.5 pounds.
I think this next guy was trolling us. Stratovation, it's another weight question, but he asked, how much heavier is it when the battery is full versus empty? I didn't catch that one.
I interpreted it as just like the base tool versus with the battery installed. Maybe it wasn't the most eloquent thing, but he's typing furiously trying to get,
Well, I can't tell if it's a joke or, if he was just asking, like, what's the weight with the battery installed versus with it removed. But funny question, if it was a joke. Definitely didn't catch it like that as first, but.
Yeah, so we're going to keep bouncing around because, we're covering a lot of questions that are asked multiple times.
I think we had, 6 pages when we started?
Yeah, so Craig Terschel asked a really important thing. When you turn the machine off and then turn it back on, do you have to reset the speed? The answer is no. That's like one of the least favorite aspects of some of the competitive tools that we were testing out. The concept that you had to kind of work your way back up to the speed. I was sitting there and like, okay, running the tool, pressing 4 buttons because I want to be at speed 4. No, that's really annoying. So that's a great feature of this tool. I'm pretty sure Jeff gave some like long-winded answer about the circuitry in there, but simple answer is it starts at the same speed that you turned it off at.
Yeah, don't want to have to reselect your speed every time.
I'm sure my grandma is rolling over in her grave for my grammar on that sentence, but.
Dave Nyack asked, does the overload circuitry shut off the machine when it senses certain heat inputs or power overloads? The answer to that is yes, it does. So that's one way, you know, if you were to drill out your 3-inch plate and put it on your rotary drive and try to run the tool, that overload circuitry is going to shut the tool off. So you will experience that if you're running it, you know, with too large of a pad or plate, or if you're using like excessive pressure with the rotary function. I have seen it shut off with the 2-inch plate on the rotary drive with like really heavy pressure because it, you know, with the rotary drive is direct drive, so it's going to want to bind, and that's why it's shutting off with that.
Yeah, because you're essentially driving resistance back up the opposite way through
into
the
motor.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So got one quick question. Was how much does it cost and when can we get one? Asked Jay Emmers. Now, you can get one now at griotsgarage.com at your favorite detailing distributor that's also a Griot's Garage distributor. It's $400 for the base unit, which we covered, and also discussed the timing of the accessories and what will be more expansive, fully merchandised kits, which will include some of those add-on accessories, including additional batteries, potentially the inverter and some pad sets. So those will be mid-May. If you want to get your hands on the tool right now, start enjoying it, go for it.
Oh, see, John asked, can we use a drill brush attachment? I know that question came up several times during the original live.
Jeff gave an answer that's written right.
Yeah, that's perfect. So the rotary and orbital drives use a M10 threaded attachment. So that's an M10 thread size. So although we're not going to endorse using, you know, non-Griot's branded attachments on your micro, if you did find a, you know, drill brush with an M10 threaded attachment, you could use it on this tool. Now that being said, most drill brushes are for chucking up in a drill. This tool does not have an adjustable drill chuck. It is a threaded attachment via your rotary drive or your orbital drive. Again, those are M10 threads. So if you can find a brush attachment with M10 threads, you could run it, you know, on the rotary function. However, you know, we're not going to endorse doing that because we don't make any of those attachments yet, and we have not tested this tool with any of those attachments yet. So if you were to do that and shuts the tool down because that overload circuitry, you know, or you have some sort of issue, at that point, you're kind of going to be on your own. So, you know, experiment with caution when you're putting other accessories that are not from Griot's on one of these tools.
Yeah, this is another important one. We got this from Finn, our buddy in Ohio, probably the most proficient 9-year-old detailer we know.
Yeah, for sure.
So shout out, Finn. If you guys ordered a tool, you asked, will Sam, Stevie, and I autograph a catalog and maybe a hat for you? The answer is yes. But he asked, and so did Ken V, you know, would this be useful in other polishing situations? So glass, plastic, metal.
Heck yeah.
Yes. That is not threading a different drill brush or head into the tool. That's utilizing the backing plates for different, you know, automotive related and or polishing specific tasks. So yeah, fantastic utility for those other spaces as well. And obviously some good, you know, really easy maneuverability versus, you know, taking, you know, a bigger tool into some of those spaces, like a you know, gauge cluster.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a nightmare to think about putting something in there. Piano black and interiors.
That's what I was gonna say. Piano black or, you know, clear coated carbon fiber trim.
Yeah.
These, you know, if you got a real gnarred up center console that's a glossy finish, you make it look brand new with one of these.
Actually,
make sure you tape stuff off that's adjacent.
I'm going to do that to my 100 series.
Yeah.
Because it's like all marred up.
Yeah, those get torched super quick with those glossy materials. And I've had some success using it without having to remove an instrument cluster or the steering wheel from a car. With the flex head, you know, you can get this oriented so that you can reach it through the top hoop of your steering wheel, and in a lot of cases get, you know, depending on how big your instrument cluster is, get the vast majority of the instrument cluster too, which those always get really gnarred up. That's a great way to really make your interior look new and freshen it up.
Yeah, we're gonna have Stevie do another like dance of the sugar plum fairies with all the different ways you can hold it and head combinations like she did with our compact sit-on creeper. But Auto Obsess, one of our distributors up in Canada, actually had some really cool applications of like inverting the tool and finding different head spaces for it. So his video is great. Troy, if you're watching, thank you for your continued support. And you made a great video highlighting some of the crazy features of this thing. Well,
yeah, if you're in Canada, Auto Obsessed is an awesome distributor of ours up in Edmonton, British Columbia.
Alberta, eh?
Oh, Alberta. Oh,
yeah.
British
Well,
Columbia.
Alberta is the province, I think, or the, I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it province?
Territory. I don't know.
Yeah.
However you want to say it. But anyways, if you're in Canada, check out Auto Obsessed. They're a great partner of ours, and I think they sell, for the most part, our whole product line.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
a ton of it.
And they do have inventory of this tool right now.
Yep.
All right, Sam, we got to get going. We're going to end on some jokes.
All right.
And remind you one more time, 20% off liquid car care going on right now. SMLAX ends March 28th. Stock up. We've got FCC in stock. Congratulations to our winners. De Jesus Antonio, why haven't I perfected that yet? I've said it 4 or 5 times. And Voodoo Child. You guys have your tools. Be sure to reach out to us at social@griotsgarage.com. All right, you ready for these? These are pretty damn bad. Bryce Miller says, what did the dog use to get the swirls out of his tennis ball launcher? Did you see this one? A long throw polisher.
Paw.
Paw.
For sure.
Sure.
I like the originality.
He's making these up. I gotta give
credit.
credit. Okay. And then, how did the pirate polish his hook? With the Griot's gah.
I think it's GR3.
Oh. Man, I missed that one.
That was pretty good.
Okay, we'll give you that one. Bryce, or email us at social@griotsgarage.com. We're not going to give you a polisher for that, but we'll give you something.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Good originality. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you get down there, hit that button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next live or any of our other videos that we're doing.
Our next live is April 19th. I want to be sure of that. We did not mention that yesterday, so we are going to be back about a month from now. I think we're doing 2-step polishing, so we'll be definitely featuring this as part of some process. We'll be back in our wash bay. We had one other electrical thing that kicked us out, so we should have more access to cars and be able to walk around showing you more demos.
Yes, sir.
All right, well, thank you everyone for watching. Gosh, hope you enjoy this new tool if you want one. Hopefully we've earned your trust to make the investment in one. We heard everything you're asking about and what we want to do in the future, and you can believe in us that we'll get it there and it'll be right when we bring it to market. So, for me and Sam, thank you. Have fun in your garage.
Have fun in your garage.